Hello, everyone, and welcome to my review of a couple of the Nightmare Before Christmas mangas, specifically the manga retelling of the original film, as well as the short story Zero's Journey. Starting off with the retelling of the original, before I even opened this book, I felt like it had a lot of potential. The Nightmare Before Christmas is up there as one of my favorite films of all time. And of course, manga has become very integral in my life in more recent years, and I do greatly enjoy the medium. Now, if I have gained any knowledge from reading this book, it is that some things shouldn't mix. I really dislike this book. I'm not a fan of the artwork. I feel as though it is rushed and sloppy in places and bland and misshapen in others. Overall, I found it to just be not visually appealing and not really engaging at all. Now, the most aggravating part of this book is the changed perception of Jack and Sally's relationship. This book sort of makes Sally more so the protagonist as opposed to Jack. And throughout the story, Sally just has this almost schoolgirl crush on Jack, which personally I wasn't really a fan of. And I was just kind of shaking my head in disappointment as I read through this story. And I don't have much of any, if any, intention of reading this book again. I would actually say this is one of the very, very, very few times I actually regret buying a book. And I can sincerely say that this book, I do not recommend it. I wholeheartedly think that it is a waste of time for both manga fans as well as Nightmare Before Christmas fans. I think it is somewhat of a disservice to the original, and if you're a manga enjoyer who wants to consume the story, I more than wholeheartedly recommend the film. And I think the film does a much better job at telling the story, as well as incorporating characters and musical elements. Now, for the second story I'm covering today, I have much, much more positive things to say about it. That is Zero's Journey. This book takes place 1 year after the events of the original film, and I feel like this placement on the timeline really helps with character interactions, flashbacks, as well as character relationships. My favorite aspect of this story is actually Jack and Zero. I really appreciate Jack's motivation to find Zero, as well as how Zero interacts with Jack. One aspect that I feel doesn't work at all in this manga is songs. Now, the original film is full of iconic tracks, so it's natural that one might want to incorporate some fun songs or musical elements into the story. However, being that this is a manga and not a movie, I it doesn't work at all. It's confusing, and sometimes it just even comes off as a little silly, in my opinion. Now, a very common event to occur in this book is Zero helping people. And I must say, my favorite example of this is when Zero finds the spirit of a dead puppy who has passed away about a decade ago, and he reunites it with his owner. This was like, it came out of the blue, it hit me, I really enjoyed it, and I really love this entire scene or little chapter segment, you could call it. It was beautiful. It was much better than anything previously in the book, and it's something far better than I was expecting when reading this book. Now, Zero being so kind and helping so many different people, it helped to open my eyes to a massive point of contrast between both Halloween Town and Christmas Town. Halloween Town, while visually scary, is extremely kind and has a tight knit, loving, and caring community, while Christmas Town is visually beautiful and seemingly full of joy. is actually cruel and even oppressive. One plotline that I was so very sure would get resolved is the almost slave like way that the elves are treated when they're hypnotically forced to make toys. They're shouted at for having fun, and they forcefully have their free will taken away from them. This is borderline, if not just straight up, evil, and no one does anything about it. It's not even brought up as a problem. On top of that, the residents of Christmas Town are almost all shown to just be cruel or violent. Meanwhile, Halloween Town partially stops the production of its holiday just to help Jack find Zero. It really blew my mind, the massive contrast between these two towns, or realms, I guess you could say, and really just how messed up Christmas Town really is, especially in portrayal of in this book. Onto another plot point. I really like the inclusion of Lock, Shock, and Barrel. Barrel. They are a blast. I love seeing them and the mischief that they cause, as well as the fact that Santa has PTSD from them. However, something, and this is a much, much more subtle touch that I really like, and it's that the three of them and what they do, they don't really know what they're doing, and they don't know that it's wrong. It's just all that they know. And really thinking about it, I mean, they were likely raised by Oogie Boogie, and they're mischief little kids. It's what they know, and it's very much a case of just how they were nurtured. And it's difficult to be mad at someone who is young and nurtured and grown up in a way that is viewed very different from how society thinks you should be. Now, moving on from that, we have the inclusion of a new character that I heavily dislike. This is the new reindeer Clementine. She causes the entire problem with lighting everything on fire. Like, she causes the entire climax with burning everything to the ground. She is incredibly selfish, which is what leads to her causing the fire accidentally, and she suffers no consequences at all whatsoever. Then later on, Zero saves her and their friends. This just doesn't make any sense to me. Now, that being said, the climax with the fire was honestly really interesting. I actually like it quite a lot. And I really did enjoy getting to see Zero save everyone. And then we come to my favorite panel of this manga, and that is Zero reuniting with Jack. I really like how it's framed, as long or not, along with the small emotional weight that's behind it. Now, one aspect that I like in this book, as opposed to the last one, is the portrayal of the relationship between Jack and Sally. It's subtle. There are some really, really nice moments between the two, and it's not borderline obsessive. Overall, I had a great time with Zero's Journey, and I would recommend it to longtime fans of the film, such as myself. That's going to be all for me today. Bye, guys.